Thank you, Jenny. I'm the Mayor's Cycling Czar. As I say on these occasions, I did ask the GLA for a uniform, preferably with epaulets, but they refused. But I have got a budget at the moment of £13 million, which is better than a uniform, I think. As far as I know, it's staying at that level, by the way. We launched our cycling vision in March, as you know, and it takes account of the kind of dramatic mood shift there's been about and towards cycling in London in the last several years. One of the things that surprised me, frankly, was how little pushback there was on our rather ambitious plans to spend a lot more money on cycling, do a lot more with the roads, create Europe's longest substantially segregated urban cycle route. I was expecting greater more opposition to that than we had, and we had virtually nothing. Even the AA and the RAC were up for it. And the day I knew that things had really changed, and Jeremy Clarkson called for more investment in cycling infrastructure and indeed changes to the law, which is the subject we're talking about tonight. A very brief sketch over the vision. It's not just, in fact, it's not primarily for people who cycle now. It will help you, of course, it will improve your cycling lives, but you'll probably carry on cycling more or less whatever we do. It is mainly aimed at two groups of people who like to cycle now but feel unable to. We want to give those people the confidence to cycle. We want to use them to change the nature of cycling in London, to de-lycrafy it, to make it normal, in the Mayor's words. We want to broaden the age range, broaden the gender range, broaden the social range of cycling, disproportionately white male professionals at the moment, younger ones as well. And the way we do that is by giving people routes they feel comfortable cycling on, and junctions they feel comfortable cycling through. The other group of people are for everyone. Everyone can benefit, whether they intend to get on a bike in their lives or not, from better cycle routes. It means, of course, fewer cars on the roads, less pollution, less congestion, less competition for a parking space, fewer cars in front of your car at the traffic lights. And it means nicer places. And all sorts of classic cycle things that we want to do, like permeability, the humble bollard. It was selling to people as good for everybody. Good for everyone in the street. We put a bollard in because it means there's no more cars treating your roads as a rat run, and your kids can get across the road to school. So that's how we're setting up the broad vision. It's had a considerable measure of approval so far, I'm very glad to say. I won't go into all the details because you probably know about it. I'm going to talk about the legal aspects of the vision. The vision, one of the key things the vision promised was that TfL would compile a wish list of new legislative powers for the Department for Transport. We often get asked to do things that we currently don't have the legal power to do. There are some rather surprising things we can't do, for instance. The police can enforce mandatory cycle lanes, but we can't. We can enforce mandatory bus lanes. We can enforce bus lanes using our own personnel and cameras and so on. But we can't enforce mandatory cycle lanes. It needs to be decriminalised for us to enforce it as a moving traffic offence. That is on our list, the decriminalisation. It's something that actually we do. We are pretty close to getting, I hope. All it needs is something called a commencement order, which has to be signed off and hasn't yet been signed off, but we're hoping it will. Enforcement of advanced stop lines by us. Again, the police can enforce them, but we can't. We think that if we enforce mandatory cycle lanes and ASLs, then there would just be that much enforcement going on. We get a lot more obedience of ASLs. As you know, ASLs are really very substantially often ignored at the moment, particularly by motorbikes who seem to think they're bicycles. One of the things I was talking about, we had boroughs in this room, in fact, this afternoon, talking about vision, about broader kind of delivery agenda across the piece, not just the law, but one of the things that came up was the widespread driver flouting advanced stop lines. And one of the things we want to do is put a sign in saying, this is for bicycles only, £50 fine if you go in this space. We can't do that at the moment, the regulations don't let us. But that is one of the things we want to change in the regulations. There are some rather surprising things, incidentally, in the current law that a cyclist can't do. A cyclist, did you know this? A cyclist cannot enter an advanced stop line except by the feeder lanes. Alright, well it came as a bit of a surprise to me actually. Anyone never has been prosecuted, but correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems an absurd legal provision to me. That's one of the other things we're asking to be changed. There are some rather surprising things a traffic engineer can't do. You can't have, as you probably all know, you can't have red cyclist traffic lights. You can have a red man on a traffic light. You can have a red horse on a traffic light. I don't know if you've been to the Hyde Park Corner junction. You can see there's traffic signals for horses there, as well as for pedestrians and bicycles. So you can see a little red horse on that light, but not a little red bicycle for some reason. It just has to be a plain red. Don't know why. It's a bizarre thing. We are talking to the department about that. We have a whole series of trials started, as you know, at the Transport Research Laboratory in Berkshire, which got some coverage in the media about 3-4 weeks ago. We're trialling a whole series of novel interventions on the roads in the hope that the DFT will allow us to novel interventions in the TRL in the hope that the DFT will allow us to trial them on the roads. The early indications are quite hopeful. They include Dutch-style roundabouts with segregated lanes all round them. They include cyclist traffic lights, which kind of described them. They include lights at cyclist height on the post. They include various other things that you weren't shown during the media demonstration as well. And we hope very much that we will start seeing those on actual roads. The first ones, anyway, so trial ones on the actual roads in London next year. What else is on our list? We want a requirement, it's going to be part of our list, that all vehicles are fitted with proximity sensors, or large vehicles are fitted with proximity sensors or systems to cover blind spots. Some of that has to be done through EU directives. We want the principal contractor in a construction project to take responsibility for road risk associated with the construction site. In other words, at the moment, they often employ subcontractors and they pass on the risk to the subcontractors. The subcontractors are a rather complicated bunch, and we want the principal contractor to carry all the health and safety risk. We want changes to driving tests, especially for commercial vehicles, and we want some improvements in sentencing. As you know, we did some work on this. We monitored sentencing outcomes between 2007 and 2009. 50 fatal cycle collisions, only half of those resulted in a driver being taken to court at all. Of those 25 prosecutions, only 12 drivers were convicted of causing death by dangerous or careless driving or something similar. And the penalties, even when they were convicted, was as low as 150 hours of community service. In November, the Mayor wrote to the Justice Minister, Jeremy Wright MP, and he said he wanted better. He wanted stiffer sentences. We've set up something called the Sentencing Unit, the Mayor's Sentencing Unit, to monitor sentences across a range of crimes. And the Mayor said in his letter, I have asked this unit to focus on the conviction of sentencing of drivers charged with offences leading to the death or serious injury of cyclists as first priority. So that is ongoing work. In terms of other enforcement things, we're going to expand the existing cycle task force units of the Metropolitan Police, which we fund as part of the wider Safe Transport Command, which we also fund. We're going to expand that by just over 25%. It's going from 39 officers to 50, so there'll be almost 2 officers on average in every borough in the cycle task force alone. There won't be the same in every borough, because there'll be more in central London than there are in outer London, but there'll be officers in every borough, I hope. We have established a commercial vehicle unit, which is 8 officers dedicated to commercial vehicle safety, and I think you'll hear more from the police about that. The idea being to ensure that prosecutions and the evidence is properly gathered and prosecutions and convictions are zealously pursued. We are also talking about doing more 20 miles an hour zones. We're just about to launch 2 in Waterloo, and we're going to do 2 more on our roads, London Road Network roads at Camberwell and New Cross Gate. Enforcement of that is a problem simply because some of the existing equipment can't really detect speeds reliably as low as 20 miles an hour, but we think about things like average speed cameras, and it is more than a number on a sign as well, because it's about encouraging low speed environments. Last point, sorry to go over, Jenny, also an enforcement, the Met has something called Road Safe. It's a website. At the moment it's a reporting mechanism, but you can also, I'm told, I looked on it just now actually, it didn't look like you could, but I'm told you can upload helmet camera video. That has been used to convict in the recent past, and I'm just about to see a business case from Safer Transport Command to greatly expand the use of that site and publicise it, so that cyclists who think they've been the victims of bad driving can upload helmet camera video and see whether they are. It has to be of evidential quality, but it has been used in the past to convict people. So that's basically what we're doing. But one of the key things I want to come out of this evening is for you to suggest any other things that should be on our list. It's not a definitive or final list. It's still a work in progress, so I'd be very interested to hear other suggestions you have for what should be on our list. And the list I gave you, because of the shortage of time we're operating under, is not exhaustive either, so there'll be other things that aren't on there, but do let me know what else you think and what else we should be doing. Thank you very much.